Welcome back, Guardians. In today's report, we will take a look at a series of structured possibilities regarding our timeless enemy, the Fallen. We will attempt to take pieces of both factual and probable information to formulate a solid consensus on the origin of the Fallen, their societal structure, and how they may have found their way into our solar system. Using our library's information on the Fallen, along with field reports from various Guardians working with the City Vanguard, we will cross-reference information to construct a potential theory on the origins of the Fallen. The Fallen are ruthless scavengers, brutal and uncaring. They arrived on their massive catches in the wake of the collapse to loot and pillage our devastated worlds. There are hints of ancient nobility to the Fallen, the scars of lost grandeur. The Kells of their scattered houses still claim to be royalty, but they only leave grief and wreckage in their wake. The Fallen, as we understand them, are a race under the influence of a semi-religious caste system. Some would regard them as pirates, devoid of honor and duty. Recent events evidently point towards this oversimplification, but the Fallen are not so easily defined. A catch-all term to describe a band of displaced vagrants does not do them justice. Equally perplexing is the relation the Fallen have with their spherical servitors and the more elusive prime servitors. But before we pursue our hypothesis on the origins of the Fallen, we must first explain their case structure so we can stand on common ground to better understand them. To generalize the Fallen, we will apply a pyramid case structure. Prime servitors acting as each house's overall power, established as the life source for all the Fallen subsidiary to it. The prime servitor, as we understand, create ether, which acts as the lifeblood for all the Fallen, from Kell to Dreg. Without the creation of this ether, the Fallen would die a death akin to dehydration to humans, or even starvation. In essence, it is what keeps the Fallen war machine both mobile and destructive. Under the prime servitors leads both the Kell and the Archon, the Kell acting as a supreme military commandant, and the Archon acting as both high priest and interpreter to the prime servitor. Archons are revered amongst the Fallen. It is unknown whether these high priests are the caretakers of the prime servitors or simply vicious arbiters of the prime's will. The Kell and the Archon both intervene and apply force where necessary, but at times they seem to oppose one another, as well as offer support. The Kell of each house would see to controlling the military and political maneuverings to most efficiently reach the house's particular goal, whereas the Archon would have the power to intervene on behalf of the house if those goals were not attainable or realistic. Beyond that, we know relatively little. The city does not deem understanding our foes' political or cultural affiliations to be an efficient use of our scarce resources. The primary interpretation of the information still remains. Why do the Fallen Kells claim ancestry to some ancient and unseen nobility? Why do the Fallen place a distinguishable reverence on the servitors and the prime servitors above it? These questions may be answered in in-depth analysis of provided information, field reports, and ghost accounts. But as stated before, verifying fact and separating it from potential is difficult without more knowledge on the Fallen society. However, we will attempt to create an educated hypothesis on the origins of the Fallen. Humanity's history will be our commonality with the Fallen. We will assume but a few things. First, and most assuredly, the Fallen were not always a race clinging to salvage and decadence, but a splendid species capable of miraculous feats of knowledge and art. Relatable only to our golden age, the Fallen once had the ability to create fleets of space-worthy craft, whose sole purpose was not to find war, but to explore possibility. They are a prideful people who appreciate aptitude and survival far more than mercy or forgiveness. They rob the dead of their possessions, claiming them as fine trophies only suited for remembrance of battle and victory. In a way, some Guardians do the same, fashioning armaments from the corpses of their enemies, to show their ferocity and tenacity, but also to revel in their accomplishment. According to a first-hand account, an unnamed Dreg of an unknown house has compiled a report on his collections of trophies and grants us invaluable insight on the relationship the Fallen have with the darkness. This compilation will be used to further develop our hypothesis on the origins of our unrelenting enemy. What others call dark, which is not, I know what it is, but no time, room, calm given for an appropriate telling. So I only say what is not a shadow is an ally, and a wonder, and I respect what I cannot steal from. And you cannot take from the dark. You can only claim pain from the dark. And that is why the dark is worthy of love beyond all other love. That astonishing ability to evade being robbed. I love what I will not name. I know what no one else knows, and now I am a marvel with 10,000 arms. The fallen have a relationship born of respect for the darkness. To them, the darkness is a formidable opponent, worthy only of their respect and servitude. The society of the fallen is based upon strength, with a large emphasis placed upon prowess in battle and the usage of wit. A clever dreg can get his docking caps removed to climb the ranks to become a specialized vandal, but only after its merit has been proved. Any seasoned guardian knows that even a dreg without its shock pistol is still a threat, as it is fueled by an unfathomable hatred and a desire to prove itself to a dark master. But what were they before? The fallen were once a race of people so majestic that the very imagination of them would leave us awestruck. A great pain now strickens us as we look upon them as our enemies. But their very name, the fallen, suggests something more, a possibility that they once shared our fate, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. The fallen were bestowed the light by the traveler, or a form of light that we may not recognize. It may not have been our traveler, but the similarities that the fallen society and ours place on reverence of the servitors and the traveler respectively do not seem to be mere coincidence. Granted, the position that the fallen were originally visited by the light because the servitors and the travelers share the same geometric shape is a poor argument when left unattended. We must examine the religious and technological overtones to more efficiently explain this possibility. To better identify the fallen servitors with our traveler, we will present the case that the servitors were created after the fallen were directly influenced by the technology brought from the traveler's arrival. Correlating to humanity's golden age, the various forms of technology built, produced, and perfected all stemmed directly from the influence of the traveler. The fallen would mimic the production of the traveler through their servitors, not only influenced by a dogmatic set of principles, but a deep reverence for something with an unkempt power. Servitors are living relics of the once mighty fallen civilization. Packed with ultra-sophisticated machinery, they process matter and energy into ether that the fallen depend on for life. In battle, they support the fallen with defensive systems and their own powerful energy weapons. Outside, they anchor the fallen comms and provide vital technological acumen. Servitors have complex relationships with each other and with their fallen crews. Servitors are attached to a prime, a massive servitor which exists in an unclear symbiosis with the fallen Archon. The Archon conveys the Kel's wishes to the prime servitor and exerts some measure of control. Recent developments suggest that the prime servitors are more than a focus of worship and logistical activity. They may play a key role in fallen starflight. The fallen are not from this system, this much is assured. They may not even be from this galaxy, but they are undoubtedly chasing the remnants of the traveler and those that stand with it. They are no longer the magnanimous race of explorers and warriors. They are now a shell, their former visage corrupted by the darkness. Could it be possible that when the darkness came to their system, the fallen had a choice? To accept their species' undeniable annihilation, or to become subservient to the darkness, a subsidiary, a fragment? When we look to the fallen, we may see ourselves, a race salvaging the wreckage of the past, hoping so desperately to win the affection of our gods. But we also see a potential lesson, that we have a choice. We can choose. We can choose to place our abilities and loyalties upon something greater than ourselves or our survival. Or we can choose fear. We can accept that the course of action that determined the Golden Age and its collapse will find us again in due time. But I believe we have already made our choice. We have made peace with our ends and decided that we will not become the fallen. We will break the cycle and win this war on our terms. But look to the lessons of the fallen, Guardians. They have much to teach us.